Hello, welcome back to Holsoltre. My name is Radhia, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the most powerful and intense new moon of 2026, and we're beginning our year with this new moon. So this video I'm going to be covering in parts, basically an introduction summary of what this means, a little more detail into the planetary positions, and further like how you can benefit from this, or what are the pointers to keep in mind in order to avoid during this new moon. Okay, all right, so beginning, I'm going to simplify this for you. Okay, there are three factors that you need to keep in consideration. One is the house, okay, which is Capricorn. It's ruled by Saturn and it's the 10th house, the house of karma. So unlike any other new moon, this new moon, far from any new moon, is telling you manifestation is not the key. Real practical action is the legit key, and what you sow, so shall you reap. It's very clear. Okay, the second thing that we talk about is the nakshatra in which this new moon is occurring, which is Uttarashada. Now Uttarashada nakshatra, unlike again other nakshatras, it's not a nakshatra with one or two deities. Okay, it has multiple deities. It's called the Vishwadevas, which is universal gods, with multiple duties coming together. So in general with Uttarashada, people born in this nakshatra or having this nakshatra, they're multi-talented, but oftentimes they end up burnt out because of investing or doing too many things all at once. Okay, now the third aspect is, yes, moon, we are talking about the new moon in this sign and in this house and in this nakshatra, but alongside moon there are 4 other planets, which makes it a total of 5 planets, which is why I say, imagine in one room 5 strongly opinionated people standing. What happens? Okay, it's a pressure cooker. And also when you know that in that in that room, one person is the leader and other people, so when you're standing in front of a father figure or in front of a boss, you can't be exactly fully who you are. So what happens? Imagine the boss is standing in front of you and telling you, do the action right now. So you feel that intense pressure, and all the more you're feeling it because there are multiple planets sitting here. So that's a gist for you, okay, to help you understand this new moon. And we will be talking about how every planetary positions have their own, pros and cons, heads and tails in terms of where we are. Okay, so for example, if you are someone who already have a structure in different arenas of your life and have clear limits of your own, because boundary is something this moon is definitely going to teach you. Okay, and before I go further, it's very important to understand, even though the moon steps out in 3-4 days, because this new moon occurs on the 18th of January, and you can feel this intensity emotionally more so because we're talking about the moon today, until let's say 21st of January. But until the end of January, starting first week of February, you will still feel the collective energy of what I'm talking about in this video, because these planetary conjunctions or the stellium, it's gonna go way forward. It's just that with the moon, because we're all 70% water, we feel things deeply, so it's going to be felt intensely. But whatever I'll be discussing today, I'm sure you've been also feeling this for the past 3 weeks. Okay, because we've had this conjunction, but we were having it in Sagittarius, and now it has moved to Capricorn. Okay, now, but if you're someone, like I said, if you have clear limits and boundaries, kudos. Okay, this new moon will give you a lot of energy to get things done, but there is a BUT. Okay, if you're someone who hasn't learned boundaries yet, be it your relationship, be it your work, be it your speech, if you don't know like how to listen, or if you have been speaking way too much in multiple areas, okay, this new moon or these next 15 days have the possibility to crush you. And again, this is not fear mongering. When I say crush you, it's either going to put you to rest, it's either going to take away situations in your life where you had been over investing. In multiple ways and forms this can come about, and let's discuss that. Okay, now I already told you what the scenario is. Okay, when we speak of Capricorn is nothing but the 10th house, the house of karma, the house of duty, the house of results, reputation, consequences. Okay, it's pure what you sow, so shall you reap. And now when we bring about Uttarashada actually is a nakshatra of victory. But what it's telling you, it's in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. It's telling you worthy victory. It's telling you long-standing victory. Have you done the work with integrity and ethics? Or are you looking for overnight success? If you were using shortcuts, be it in relationships, be it in strategies, be it in your job or your work life, trying to just jump up the ladder through quick short gains, or if you were a leader who were kind of messing around with strategies, I can say in a polite way, okay? Everything is going to come out to light. And one of the examples you can also see at a world level, you can see what is happening in Iran. People are opposing and are standing against the leader, okay? So I'll be covering that one step at a time. Now here is where I want to talk about Uttarashada, asking you that victory is granted if your seeds are sown in ethics and hard work, because it's Capricorn, okay? Now imagine, I'll give you one quick insight about when such a serious nakshatra comes and Capricorn planet Saturn comes and so many planets. Okay, imagine having a house party in a very strict ruler's house, and there is no theme, there is no connection between each other. Like there is no single community that, oh, everybody is coming to paint. No, everybody that's invited in that house, okay, is coming with their own strong energy. So now you can imagine what happens. Okay, but they all have to follow the rules of that house. You see, so now I'll start to cover, okay, we have Mars, we have Mercury, we have Sun, we have Moon, we have Venus, okay. Imagine Venus that's ruling your beauty, that's ruling your relationships. Now Capricorn is saying like, boss, I don't care about affection, I don't care about love, I don't care about how much you love me. Show it to me in actions. What are you bringing on the table? Have I been the one taking on the responsibilities or carrying the burden? Same way Mercury is all about the intellect, Mercury is about the speech, Mercury is about the ideas and strategies, but at the same time Mercury is with Mars. Mars is fire, okay, and Mars is actually exalted in the sign of Capricorn, but on top of Mars, his boss Sun is sitting. So normally Mars, who's an excellent administrator, executor, and in Capricorn, he's like so productive. Now on top of that, Sun is sitting and putting more pressure. What happens there? Sun is putting pressure on Mars. Mars is sitting with Mercury. Sharp criticism, becoming overly rational, or there can be impulsive speech, okay? Same way when Sun is sitting on top of Mars, a normally energized and focused person with a strong willpower is getting pressured from the top. What happens? That action can become a really compulsive action, okay? So a couple of notes that I made here for you. And interestingly, okay, just think about this. Sun in Capricorn is like, I must be respectable, capable, in control because I'm the boss. Moon, which is all about feelings, is like, I don't feel safe unless life is unstructured. Okay, sorry, unless life is structured. Okay, now coming to Mars and Capricorn, because I told you Mars is currently combust, is like, I will push through, I will go on and on and on, even if my body is begging to stop, even if I'm hitting a burnout. And this is a very important point I want to emphasize, that during this new moon and during this entire month of January, there's a high possibility that you might end up over-committing, over-promising, over-stretching yourself if you're not clear with your boundaries, and that can lead to a burnout, okay? Now when we step to Mercury, where it's in Capricorn, rule-oriented, think in a structured manner, and sitting with Mars, what happens? Mercury says, my mind becomes a weapon. I can strategize like really well, but I can also criticize really well. Okay, so you can make some really sharp decisions during this time, depending on where in your chart is the house of Capricorn. In that area, you can feel a lot of profound shifts, and you can even make some really quick decisions to move something forward or to cut something out. Okay, and lastly, Venus in Capricorn, because here Venus is, normally we hear unconditional love, right? It's the complete opposite. Here Venus is all about conditions. It's about practicality. It is about endurance, because Venus in Capricorn can also be seen for marriage and not for a love affair. Okay, in a love affair, it can be all about, oh yeah, we are enjoying, we're having fun. But Venus in Capricorn is like, love and value become conditional. Show me with actions, not promises. Now imagine all of them coming in the radar of Uttarashada. What it's saying, let your victory be ethical, let it be worthy. The most important, let it be sustainable. Okay, so this is the core theme of this new moon and core theme of the remaining of January. Now what you need to be very careful of, Okay, the resentment loop. Why I say that? Because the burnout resentment, and that is because, see, Mars is also there. Like, Mars is pushing because it's a lot of fire, and this is also the year of the fire horse. Okay, Sun is demanding because Sun is the boss. He's demanding. Mars is pushing, going all the way. Moon, because Moon cannot be emotional when it's in the sign of a structured sign. So it is kind of suppressing its vulnerability, unable to be vulnerable, okay? Mercury is doing what? Because it's intellect. So when Mars is pushing through, Mercury is rationalizing overworking. Yeah, hustle is fine, you must hustle. That kind of rationalization when your body is screaming, because Moon has been suppressed. So your body is screaming, hey, I'm not well. Mercury is like, oh, dude, don't you want that promotion? Like, you got to do the work, okay? And Venus is asking for loyalty, but it can turn cold if Venus cannot feel reliable. So a lot of relationships right now, it's going to come out very strongly. And this is a theme that has been happening for the last 3 weeks. But now in Capricorn, Mars and Venus, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, we've heard. But what it's showing is that your feelings, your attraction, your chemistry, that is all going to fall off if your limits and boundaries and shared responsibility, okay, mark my word, shared responsibility and clearly defined responsibilities, that okay, I take care of this part, you take care of this part, this is a timetable. Like, if that is not addressed well, a lot of conflicts and clashes can be seen in relationships. Okay, so this is where, because all of these planets, like I told you, are like strongly hitting at one point, it can create sudden anger, okay, passive aggressive behaviors, emotional shutdown, quitting impulses, and very, very harsh words said in a very logical way. Okay, and this is what we need to be very mindful. And secondly, in terms of at a global level, or in general in terms of leadership and authority, okay, what is real versus what is performative? This is going to come out to light in terms of, anything that was built on fake promises. Now, again, this can be in the area of your career. It can be in the area of your home. If you are a Libra rising, okay, Capricorn is your 4th house. Or it can be like in the area of, if you are a leader owning a business or a brand, okay, in any areas of your life, if there is lack of accountability, if there was image management, you were showing off an image or portraying yourself as a leader or authority, but internally things were hollow, or there were weak systems, okay, all of this is going to come crashing down. So you being told that make sure whatever you had been doing, whether in relationships, at home, in career, it was built on integrity, it was built on truth, it was built on transparency, because transparency and accountability become key factors. Okay, now why I say they become key factors, because again, respect, because Saturn Capricorn is demanding that respect. Now I'll move to the second part, okay, where we'll just take examples of how this can pan out in different areas of your life. Okay, so let's say if you're talking about career and work, right, there can be like unrealistic workloads, okay, and if you were someone, especially in a job that you had been thinking for a long time that I'm done, that person who continues to show up, and the management thinks that, oh, this person is like all-time go-to person, and this person never says no. This is where that pressure cooker is arising, where you will suddenly, if you are that person or somebody else around you, will suddenly feel like, why am I the one doing everyone's job, right? And so you're being advised when it comes to your career and workspace, it's time, if you would like this new moon to really be progressive for you, it's telling you to renegotiate your role, again based on integrity, okay, delegate, redesign systems, speak facts, not emotion. This is not the time to feel overwhelmed and speak out of emotion in a job setup. Okay, similarly, if I talk about relationships, in relationships, like I said clearly, if you feel that you are the one who's been carrying the load, or your partner might feel that, it's going to just come out very clearly, because there needs to be an honest conversation in terms about your effort. Okay, having those hard conversations about structure, not about emotions and feelings, asking the right questions, even if you're pursuing a connection. It is no longer about the looks, it is no longer about how you feel, it is about the practical logistics, where it is telling you that let go of the potential, and look at the facts right now as is by focusing on a person's actual actions and behaviors and their focused action. Why I say focused action again and again? Because 10th house is ruled by Capricorn. It's the house of karma. Okay, and this same thing, if let's say you're a caretaker, you're a mother, you're a nurturer, it can also be you're in a healing profession like mine, it can be you are a coach. Okay, in all of those places, another thing that's coming out, and that's coming out very, very strongly, is service without structure. I'll repeat, service without structure becomes self-harm. Okay, are you saying yes? Are you overbooking clients? Are you saying yes at the cost of your own health? Have you been giving that service irrespective of, even if you're a caretaker, have you not asked for help? Okay, because there is a high chance of compassion fatigue. Always being available, and that can create compassion fatigue. Right? So what you're being advised, especially when it comes to this healer, coaches, caretakers, mothers, nurturers, structure strong session boundaries and strong time boundaries. And one thing, I can say from my own experience is let clients take responsibility for their own self-growth. Where I hate compassion fatigue is, when you make it your responsibility. Now, since I've mentioned this, there is a very important point I would like to mention about this new moon in Uttarashada in the 10th house of Capricorn. It's telling you this entire energy is not about personal ambition. It talks about collective karma, it talks about group karma, and that is the reason with all these planets, suddenly, a lot of you might feel like, oh my God, I have to do all of this. If I don't show up here, if I don't go attend that meeting, if I don't do this, like everything is going to collapse. So it is testing you that do you have clear, defined timelines, goals, structures around you, and have you been carrying, very important, have you been carrying the load of other people's responsibility on your shoulder? If so, then this new moon is actually in a way blessing you in the next 15 to 20 days. Now, the blessing can come in disguise if we had been resisting change. Because this is the year of the 10, and 10 is the wheel of fortune. So it's like life cycles will change, but it's just going to show you that if you were not able to do it on your own, life by hook or by crook is going to make it happen. Now, real quick, let me just summarize by telling you the two categories: people who can thrive during this time and how you can make the most of this time, and the second, that you can avoid struggling immensely during this new moon if you keep certain pointers in mind. Okay, now first and foremost, before I define like the energies that will thrive versus the energies that will struggle, I want to tell you that because it's Uttarashada, like I told you, multiple things and multiple planets coming together, priority will help you massively. Prioritize just one section. And when I say one section, if relationship is a priority, keep that as a priority, and you should know that everything else is secondary. Same way, you can either choose it in terms of career, you can choose it in terms of home. It's up to you. Okay, so first and foremost, priority. Second, I would suggest during this new moon, it's not because Mars is in pressure zone. So what happens? Compulsive action kind of happens where we are acting out of fear. Okay, so in order for that compulsiveness to not happen and your priorities being straight, like I said, this also is a new moon that's giving you a lot of energy to get excellent ideas to build long-term sustainable business, family, anything. It's an excellent new moon to root something. But if you are in that mindset that I need to do it all right now and I need to do it all by myself, and in general, if you've had that mindset, then this new moon can bring up shakeups, okay, where it'll force you to reflect on certain things, right? So make sure you're prioritizing. Second, make sure you write down everything, because Mercury and Mars coming together, a blessing with the moon is if you sit down near water, have good shower, if you start to write right now in this moment, it can bless you with some amazing ideas and strategies and the way to go about it. Whereas if you have been off center lately, my suggestion is that before you speak, before you put your presentation, before you go and ask for that promotion, before you have a communication with your partner, please write everything down before saying it directly. Okay, now quickly I've made these notes and I'm going to just simply read it out for you. Okay, people who will thrive is if you're already someone who has a structure, clear routines, either in life or in your work profile. Okay, clear boundaries. You understand the difference between responsibility and over responsibility, and you are willing to say no without guilt. Can work steadily without emotional drama. Okay, because it's Saturn again. Okay, is okay delaying gratification for long-term results. This is a very important point I've written, because Saturn and all these planets, especially, we always hear Venus, and we hear like, oh, love is all about first attraction, or Mercury, it's like, oh, I need to write that book and I can just go on and post it. All of that rushed energy, or anywhere even Sun is there and Sun and Venus together, it can be like, oh, I'm going to build this luxury thing and I'm going to sign up to build this restaurant. That impulsivity, it is where Saturn is, showing up, and it's telling you that sowing seeds with a practical structure is what is tested right now, rather than quick gratification. Okay, value meaning your integrity. This Uttarashada nakshatra of victory, the beautiful thing this new moon is promising you, if you sow seeds for group collective karma, for doing something that is going to benefit the society as a whole and is rooted in transparency, authenticity, integrity, the moon, this new moon and Uttarashada, it is one nakshatra that guarantees you success and victory, keeping those conditions in mind. Okay, so how this energy will show up for you, you can expect to have very sharp clarity, very clear priorities. You can be feeling like excellent. You'll be like, man, my execution right now is so on point, without getting burnt out. Okay, if you have these energies present, you will gain a lot of respect from other people, even if it is silently. Like, other people will look up to you, let's say in an office, that, oh my God, like their efficiency is on par. Or if you're a homemaker, people will look up to you and silently appreciate that how much she works without getting burnt out, and she's living such a balanced life. Okay, these are just examples. Then long-term plans can become very solid right now. This is that new moon that if you had been boundary oriented and setting clear limits and very clear in your value system, this is a new moon that can actually bring you some opportunity which can be so long lasting that it can build a legacy for you. Okay, and you can feel, this is a new moon that's going to bring the vibe of feeling settled when it comes to connections, rather than feeling excited. Okay, like you will feel a lot more contentment, irrespective whether you have a relationship or not. That grounding will be there very strongly. Now, coming to okay, these are the energies like you're off center and where you can struggle, and by listening to this, you can be in a state of awareness and work on it. Okay, if you're somebody who has weak boundaries, says yes automatically, doesn't say no to certain work. Okay, you carry on other people's emotional or practical load. You tie your worth to being useful or dependable. I am worthy only if I'm useful. Okay, you avoid confrontation, because this Mercury Mars up until the end of this month eventually is going to bring about that in wherever area Capricorn is there in your chart. Okay, if you're someone who operates from guilt rather than choice, like if you haven't been prioritizing yourself, okay, and if let's say you're a business owner and have had weak systems, there was no system or structure, then you can struggle to sudden exhaustion. It can also be, you may struggle to feel like currently you might be feeling unappreciated or under-recognized or taken for granted, again, in any specific area of your life. You can have, okay, this is super important, okay, you can feel very quickly irritated by other people's slowness. Okay, impatience can be very, very high. And you can also feel the irritation at other people's incompetence, especially in your, work setup. That, dude, it just takes like 2 hours to do this. Why is this person taking all day long? Okay, then work pressure can increase for you rapidly. You may feel a lot of relationship resentment. Okay, in terms of your health, you can experience jaw cracks. It can be back, your knees, a lot to do with your joints. It can also be your hips. Okay, so that is there was one more aspect of your health and nervous system. Okay, here is where your body can show fatigue. It can show it wants to rest a lot. It can feel under the weather. You can have a lot of acidity and heat because Mars is combust. Intestinal issues, acidity issues, pitta issues aggravating like migraines during this time. And it can also be disturbed sleep. Why? Because Mercury is with Mars. You may feel that I sleep well, but I'm having intense dreams, or I'm just waking up in the middle of the night. That is like, maybe even if you were in bed for 8 to 10 hours, you may feel that you don't feel rested. Okay, and that is why I say, to wrap this up, what is very important is during this time, the more you meditate, the more you write, the more you practice stillness, and the more you revisit your goals, because it's an excellent time to revisit all the pending tasks, all the stuff you had been saying, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and you had been delaying or postponing. It's an excellent new moon during this time. Okay, lastly, I would say, please avoid watching any news during this time. Avoid getting into unnecessary arguments or unnecessarily putting across your opinions during this time, or for that matter, even engaging in protests or social media campaigns, because the thing is, it can get heated up, and again your nervous system can take a toll, because of which I say, with the Mercury Mars conjunction, more than this new moon energy, please avoid technology as much and participate more in the present. Get more aligned with paper, pen, setting structures, journaling, timetabling. Go the old school way, because Capricorn, Saturn and Karma, it's asking you for real time focused action. So I hope you liked this video. Please share your comments, and if you like this video, please do share it with all your friends and families, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.